Keith.
Hey Harris, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
All right, this is Harris Wellman with failyourway.com, which you can probably see right there. And being joined by Keith Wellman from keithwellman.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at Keith Wellman. And not only do our names rhyme, our last names rhyme, but we're actually pretty good friends in the internet marketing business. Keith is an international speaker, teaches people pretty much, how to make money online, has been doing that. Has been making money online himself for 6 years, probably teaching people for 2.5, 3 years.
Probably close to 3.5 years.
3.5 years, okay. Oh, longer than me. Yeah, that's right. You actually, he predates me, and pretty much built a multi-million-dollar empire doing that. So, so now that's your successes. Now we're going to talk about your failures.
All right, sounds good.
I hate to call a thing failyourway.com and miss the opportunity to ask you about your failures. So let these guys know what your biggest failure has been and how did you overcome it?
Sure. Well, probably my biggest failure I remember pretty well because I expected it to be this huge deal, and I put a lot of time and energy into the product and the launch of the product, and my goal was to do $1 million in about a week, and I fully expected to do that, and was...
sorry to interrupt, but it's not like you hadn't made money before. This wasn't your first thing.
Right, completely. In fact, I generated millions of dollars over time, just not all in one clean swoop like that, which was very exciting and pretty cool to see when it happened. So,
sure.
Anyways, so my head's all built up, and I'm really excited about it. Got everyone on board, and spent all this time with the product and the marketing, and I launched it, and it did less than 1/10 of that, which to me was a catastrophic failure, and so it was definitely it hit me pretty hard. I'm just like, oh man, well that
do I know what the heck do I know what I'm doing here?
Right. You start to question yourself a little bit, but then you kind of pick yourself back up and you keep moving. But definitely I learned a lot from it, and took a lot away from that failure, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So.
And then I happen to know what you're referring to. Usually ask what you do to overcome it, but I want to kind of ask it a little bit differently. I guess what would you do? What did you do to overcome it? How did you really? I know you had a major success kind of based on that. Is I guess what I want you to share.
Well, the main thing is you always look at your failures and you want to find out what happened. That's the #1 question you ask yourself, and then you can sort of guess. And that's really all that you can do. But you have to look at the numbers and look at the market and try to figure out what it was, and then you just start trying things, and you got to figure out what can you do. And so my biggest thing was repositioning the product, because I positioned it in a way that I thought the market would be receptive to, and that they would really like it, and it just completely failed. So pretty much my whole thing was...
We're allowed to use the F word on this one, failed this part.
Oh, okay, great. All right, so so this is R-rated then. I had no idea. So I repositioned it, and that was the biggest thing, is figuring out how do I reposition this so the market is more receptive to it, and that's what I did. I repositioned it, and I actually tore the product completely apart. It was a high-end product, $1,000. Tore it completely apart and turned it into a $500 product, and with all digital instead of physical, and relaunched it. And
instead of like the kind of big launch and the long sales letter, you actually applied a different sales formula to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I used my my video formula,
easy sales formula.
Easy sales formula process, and did a video, which you see everyone doing these big old launches and things like that, and I just tried that and completely flopped. I'd done big launches successfully in the past, but this one didn't work, so I thought, maybe I should try something else, and I did a video, and no big launch or anything like that. I told my list about it, told a couple of other people about it, and they promoted it. Yep, you were one of them, and lo and behold, in about a week's time, did about $1 million with it.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know it was that high. I thought it was, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I know it was a year ago, but I thought it was about half that, so that's awesome.
It was actually just short of $1 million, so it was $999,000 or something like that.
999, just short.
Yeah, 999.
I'll buy two from you.
Right. No, I almost bought for myself because I wanted to have the screenshot of it being over $1 million, but whatever. So.
But that's another failure. You still didn't do $1 million.
Well, I actually did, because I ended up taking those leads, and then we sold them on our workshops, and we did well over $1 million.
Sure.
But in the actual launch itself.
Okay.
About $1 million. Can we just say $1 million?
No, it's about $1 million. You have to say about $1 million. You failure. 998. No.
Right, yeah.
All right. So, never had so much fun talking about failure, right? And then, do you think you view failure differently than other people?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely believe I do. I think most people look at something like that and they fail and it flops, and I think that they let the failure sort of get them down and think, well, you know, obviously this doesn't work.
Right.
And I said that, but I said, obviously this doesn't work, so I'm going to try this.
Right.
And you have to keep going. You have to keep trying and try different things until something does work, and that's the difference between successful people and not successful people. Is successful people know how to fail and get it over with, get it out of the way, and move on. From the time I launched that product to the time I relaunched using a completely different feeling and everything,
right.
Different product name,
different
everything.
Positioning, different name, different price point, different method.
Right, less than a month after I launched, I did that. So, and generated $1 million.
So you licked your wounds real quick, moved on.
Done.
And that's how you do failure, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so next I'm going to ask you a money...
Cried on your shoulder for a few minutes.
Yeah, you did. We cried on each other's shoulder. I was helping with that launch that failed. I was like, oh, let's not put this one on my resume.
Right.
Okay, so next I'm going to ask you a money-making secret, a free traffic secret, how you would start from scratch if you had to. But I'm not going to do that on this video. I'm going to do that for my members only, the members of failyourway.com. So anybody that owns the Make Money by Failing system is going to have benefit of those questions. So thanks a lot for this.
Hey, sounds good.
And go to KeithWellman.com for more about Keith, and you can also follow him on Twitter at Keith Wellman.